Hi guys, it's Paula and I hope you are doing well. This is going to be an update for Pan in Every Palette. This project was originally created by Lady Pans a Lot with the goal of hitting a pan in every palette that she owned. She invited me to jump in on the project and I've been doing it for a long time now. You could find Lady Pans a Lot over on Instagram. I will have her handle linked down below, and there are others that have joined in along the way. I will have all of them linked down below as well. I don't know who at this point is still doing this project, but I think there's a few of us out there that are still doing this project. Of course, there are similar projects to this out there that are going on also, so I think we're all just trying to hit a lot of pan, and it makes sense that we're all doing something similar to this. But the project I'm doing is called Pan in Every Palette, and my goal is to one day have 100% pan in every palette, and then we'll move right into 2 pans in every palette, which I cannot wait for that day. I am so excited at the thought of one day having a pan in every palette and then focusing on 2 pans in every palette. That is pretty exciting. Kind of daunting, but also kind of exciting. This is a good update. I'm currently working on 3 palettes in this project, but of course, if I hit pan in other palettes that are not in this project, I count that towards my pan percentage. So I track all of that. And I also try to keep track of the usage for the palettes that I have on in this project so that I have an idea of how long it's taking me to hit pan. I do feel like compared to a lot of other project panners, it takes me longer, but even with my own tracking, not all palettes are made the same, and it's kind of shocking to see how I can sometimes hit pan in like 20, 25 uses, and other times it's closer to 100 uses. So it's just been interesting to track and see how long it takes me to hit pan in a palette from one brand to the next. Let's start with the palette that I used the least since the last update, and that is my Jouer Skinny Dip palette. Sadly, I only used this one time since the last update about 2 months ago, and the shade that I'm trying to hit pan on is this one right here called Skinny Dip. That is my kind of a shadow. It's kind of a gold mixed with a silver, a silvery gold, a goldeny silver. I like that shade very much, and it's great for summertime, but unfortunately I only reached for it once. You guys know I'm panning a lot of eyeshadows, so I have trouble deciding whether or not I want to zero in on a couple shadows and make some progress, or do I want to like spread my love evenly across everything I'm project panning. And it's always a difficult decision, but yeah, only one use for that shadow since the previous update. That's the bad news. The good news is coming up. Let's move on to the next palette. The next palette we'll talk about is my Balm Jovi palette from the Balm. I decided to work on one of the cream shadows in this palette. They are lip and cheek combo products, but due to their age, I'm only using them on my cheeks. I'm not using them on my lips anymore. I'm very happy to report that I have finally hit pan. It's hard to see it. I mean, it's not like the cleanest pan, but every time I use it, I swipe a little bit of product over the pan. But yeah, I think you could see that it's pan. This was no easy job. First of all, this was a very pigmented red, and I just had to just dot it on the tips of on the balls of my cheeks, and I was very rosy. And so it took me forever to use this. I did use this a lot though. Since the last update, it only took me an additional 11 uses to hit pan on it. And then I ended up using it another 9 times after I hit pan on it, just to make sure that the pan was noticeable. Because when I first hit the pan, I could barely even see myself that I had hit pan. So I wanted to make sure it was clearly pan. But in total, I ended up using this blush up until the day that I hit pan. Let me count. I can't believe it. I just counted up all of my tallies. I used this 122 times before I hit pan. That is crazy. I did not see that coming. Usually I hit pan in cream products pretty quickly. I thought this would be an easy pan. It was not easy. It took me 122 uses to hit pan. Holy cow. Some of you guys did suggest that I continue working on this by mixing it in with my cream highlighter and seeing if I could make a cream blush out of that. I have not tried that yet, but I think that's an interesting idea. So I'm still hoping to try that, but I have not tried that yet. And I think keep the ideas coming. I appreciate it. I appreciate all of your ideas. That's all I can say. And the third palette that I've been working on in this project is one of my Morphe palettes. This is the 35E palette. And I'm very excited to report that I've also hit pan in this palette as well. It is right here, shade number 4, as I've finally named it. This has been a beautiful brow bone and inner corner highlight eyeshadow. And it only took me 31 uses to hit pan. So from 31 uses to 122 uses, I think that kind of shows the scope of how many uses it can take me to hit pan on a product. Obviously, these Morphe shadows are pretty low hanging fruit. I generally hit pan on these pretty quickly, and you know, it's okay. I don't mind it. They're super affordable shadows, and I don't expect them to give me the most amount of product imaginable for the cost of these shadows. It's plenty enough product, and I think they're pretty good quality. Even though I've had these for many years, I'm still enjoying these shadows very much. And yeah, I'm so glad to have 2 more palettes with pan. So these 2 palettes will be rolling out of this project. Obviously, the Jouer Skinny Dip will continue on, and I need to bring in 2 more palettes to replace these 2 palettes that are going out. So let's talk about those 2 next. I feel like we're kind of sticking with a theme here. I feel like I'm kind of replacing the palettes with the same palettes, and you'll see why in just a second. But the first palette I'm bringing in is another balm palette and another cream blush palette. This is How About Them Apples from the Balm. I've been talking about panning this forever and ever and ever, and it's finally gonna happen. I did play around with this blush maybe a year ago to see if this would be a better bronzer. It's so browny in this palette compared to the other 5 shades that I thought maybe it could be a cream bronzer. And in the end, I decided no, it really is a very orangey blush. So it stayed in my blush collection. But other than that, I really have not played around with any of these other cream blushes very much at all. What I've been doing with these cream blushes is mixing them with the cream blush that I'm currently project panning in my Partners in Cream project. I'm working on a cream blush from Mascara Beauty or Saint Beauty, and it is very neutrally, it's just a warm, light pink shade. It barely shows up on my skin, and it just doesn't really bring any life to my cheeks whatsoever. It's just so neutral that it doesn't really add much. That being said, I want to pan it. I've been panning it, and I want to keep panning it, but the way I've been enjoying it the most is by mixing it. So I was mixing it with the red from the Balm Jovi palette, and now I want to mix it with one of these, not the red. I need a break from the red. That was so intense. But I think I'm kind of leaning towards this one right here. This is the shade Cider, and out of all the blushes in this palette, it looks like one that has never been touched. Like, all these are pretty much brand new, but all of them have some level of kind of scuff marks, except for this one. It looks literally untouched. So, and hello, sir. Yes, you. So in honor of Mr. Cider, no, not Cider, Pie. Sorry, not the shade Cider. This is a shade Cider, this is a shade Pie. So I think this would mix well with the cream blush that I'm currently working on, and I think it would make a nice combo, and I just think it's really bright and fresh for summertime, and obviously it's summer, and I'm highly motivated. Maybe I won't be loving this in November, but right now I'm just feeling that shade very, very much. So that is the shade that I believe I'm going to be working on. But of course, with this in the project, I might use any combination of these products while I'm panning it. So maybe in November I'll be leaning towards something else, but right now that shade Pie is the one that is calling my name. And the third palette that I'm rolling into this project is the last of my big Morphe 35 pan palettes. This is the 35 OS palette. I have hit pan in every other Morphe palette that I own. This is the only one that does not have pan in it, and I'm ready to hit pan in this one, and I'm ready for another easy win, because obviously with around 30 uses to hit pan, this is so much faster than just about everything else. And so if I want my pan percentage to go up, this is a quick way to do it. I'm not exactly sure which of these shadows I'll be working to hit pan on. This is an entirely shimmer palette. Yeah, they're all beautiful, and they're all kind of calling my name right now. I can't quite say without a doubt which one I'm gonna start working on, but it'll have to be something that I can easily incorporate into what I'm already project panning, because I already have a lot going on for project panning and eyeshadows. So I need to find something that will work with what I'm already project panning. So I'm gonna play around with this and see what I'm gravitating towards the most. But yeah, I'm really excited to be bringing in the last of my Morphe 35 pan palettes into this project. All right, let's move on to the discussion of pan percentage. As of last month, my overall pan percentage was at 11.6%. That's still really low. I got a long way to go to get to 100%, but I think when I started tracking my pan percentage, it was like 2%. So, you know, slowly but surely, I am getting there. Over the past 2 months, those two palettes that I just talked about, the Balm Jovi palette and the Morphe 35E palette, are the only two palettes that I hit a new pan in. Everything else, there are no other palettes with pan that I've hit since the last update. There is a palette that I'm very, very close to hitting pan on in my Panner's Pan project, and that is the Urban Decay Heavy Metals palette. I have that shade on like the inner half of my eyelid today, and I've been wearing it quite a bit because I feel like I'm very, very close to hitting pan. So I've been wearing that eyeshadow a lot, but there's no pan yet. So my overall total of palettes that I own is 386 as of today, and counting these two new additional palettes that I've hit pan on, the overall amount of palettes with pan is 47. So when I divide those two numbers into each other, that brings my new pan percentage from 11.6% up to 12.1%. So I'm very happy that we're finally up another percentage point, 12%. I'll take it. Slowly but surely, we are getting there, and I'm very excited. I do think that Heavy Metals is the next one for me to hit pan on. And other than that one, I don't know if I'm too close on anything else. We'll have to see. But yeah, I'm looking forward to having another goal met in that project, hopefully, hopefully before the finale. Yeah, so as that project winds down, I am panning less eyeshadows, and that is great because I don't need any more eyeshadows to pan, and the fewer eyeshadows I'm project panning, the more progress I will make on what I'm actually working on. So overall, I do feel like things are going pretty well, and I'm really excited to have something new to work on in this project, even though it's very similar to what just rolled out of this project. It's different, it's a change of scenery, and I'm excited. So that is going to be it for this update. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.